Hello there, one and all, and thank you very much for tuning in to episode 476 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, live on YouTube as always. Regular viewers will know exactly what I'm about to say next. Whether you're watching the live or you're watching the recording, it really doesn't matter. You are very, very welcome. We have some comments already. Perfume by the Sea says, afternoon, my scent of the day is Notturno by Meo Fushini. Beautiful... Fushuni. Beautiful and dark, and I'm really falling for this brand. I'm hearing more and more about it. I need to check it out. Alex is here as well. Welcome, Alex, saying hello to everyone. So nice to have another scented Sunday with Persolaise. Eau d'Adrien is my scent of the day, and it comes from a newly purchased 450ml bottle that was bought at a ridiculous discount. Wow, that's quite a buy. Spaced Out says, Parfums De Marly, here we go. Yeah. Mace is here saying hello. So is Rita saying good evening, everyone. A says, hello. Have you seen Iris Torréfiée has been discontinued off the shelves? The Guerlain? No, I didn't know that. There is a new L'Art et la Matière coming. In fact, I think it's already available. Well, it is available in Harrods, called Vetiver Fauve. Is that right? But if the iris is gone, oh dear. Fahmi is here as well, saying hello, good night from Indonesia. Oriana says hello, officially on vacation. Have a wonderful vacation. Milad is saying good evening from Dubai. Shan says, hi Mr. P, wish I could post a picture in this chat. Sri Lanka is so sunny and lovely today. Ah, well, I can picture it now. And Rachel says, hello, I like your shirt. Thank you very much, Rachel. Not that we're doing any Dior's today, but I thought I'd dig this one out. What are we doing today? Very, very quickly, for the benefit of those of you watching live, the plan is to do 2 back-to-back videos. I'm going to do a sort of new releases video where we will go through these 4 perfumes here, I think in fairly brisk fashion. And then we will come back with a showcase, a sort of long overdue showcase, but it's not going to be one of these exhaustive, entirely comprehensive showcases, but it's a brand that I don't talk about enough on this channel, and I thought I'd sort of find the bottles of the perfumes from the brand that I haven't reviewed yet and review them today. So that's coming up. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do consider doing so. Please click on the little bell so that you get notifications of new videos. And if you would like to find out how you can support my work, you should be able to see a link to my Ko-fi page in the video description below, as well as a link to my Substack. Latest post on the Substack is a showcase review of the works from Vireo, the British brand Vireo. Interesting brand. And also, we're kind of just about coming to the end of this season of Love at First Scent, if I can call it that. I don't tend to call them seasons. I usually take a sort of summer break to concentrate on different sorts of writing projects and give my brain and pen and keyboard a rest from perfumey stuff. But I will tell you when the final episode of this season is going to be. It's going to be coming up soon. Okay, let's get a move on. And somebody mentioned Parfums De Marly. Let's start with the Parfums De Marly. This is new from them, and it's called... I actually don't know how we're meant to pronounce it. Will you be able to see that if I do that there? Yes, there you go. So it's... Is it Castley? Castley? As opposed to Palissy or Cottagey or Semi-Detachedly? I don't know. And I haven't been able to find out who the perfumer is. Not my favourite brand that's around at the moment. But you know, as you do well know, I'm sure, they have been very, very successful. They have attracted a lot of attention. I think particularly from a very, very specific demographic of perfume buyers, from a younger demographic of perfume buyers. Which, you know, doesn't matter. Spaced Out says, PDM use horse names usually for their releases. Ooh, so how do we pronounce that? I don't know. I am entirely ignorant of such things. Ralph says, possibly one of the weakest PDM releases they've done. Interesting. I've smelt a few over the years, and I've thought, okay, this aesthetic isn't particularly for me. It's extremely loud, extremely brash, extremely kind of blocky and monolithic and very sort of literal, nothing refined about it. I think Delina, is it Delina, the kind of it's a rose, it's a rose, it's a rose, in case you were still wondering, it's a rose, huge pink, and it, you know, it came in a pink bottle release, I think by Quentin Biche. I believe Biche has done a few others for them. I think, I could be wrong, but is it Hamid Marathi Kashani, who's done quite a few as well. But I was asked if I would be interested in receiving a sample of it, and I gave my standard response, which is that I always keep an open mind and I'm interested in trying a sample of anything that's new, even if it's not new. So here we go. We have pre-sprayed blotters, and in the process of doing preparing the pre-sprayed, preparing the pre-sprayed blotter for this one, I did manage to get a bit of a whiff of it. It's a very, very seriously chunky, heavy, lethal feeling bottle. What I do know is that apparently this is meant to be seen as part of their lighter eau range. So perhaps you can tell me about that. Elias says, Percival is a guilty pleasure for me since it reminds me of Fierce by Abercrombie, my adolescence. That's fine, you know, we all like different things. Ralph says, Herod is the only one I like, but yet again doesn't last long at all. Gavin says, Snoop Dogg wears Delina, according to the Paris Olympics propaganda. And Rita says, Snoop Dogg was helping with PDM promo. He didn't even know what it was called. Oh, I think somebody sent me a link to that. Gavin, it may even have been you, actually. Did you send me a link to that clip of him saying something about Delina? Alex says, I really never smelled an interesting Parfums De Marly. It seems that these scents are made for people who want to smell loud, just loud and nothing else. And Gavin says, yes, I said, see? I do eventually get round to the DMs that people send me. Anyway, Castley. So, it starts off very much as a kind of 80s citrus masculine. More than a shade of something like Dracar Noir, but without the kind of, so less of the sort of translucent woodiness of Dracar Noir that came through the material dihydromercenol, but maybe more of that kind of astringent citrusy notes, somewhere between real bergamot and entirely fake ersatz bergamot. K. Dot says PDM feels like a glorified clone brand. Well, yeah, I don't entirely disagree. And you can tell straight away, moments after the initial citrus note, that it's going to go into quite brash, woody, patchouli type territory. It's all of those adjectives that I seem to keep using about these sorts of scents. Aggressively, insistently, broad-shouldered, mansplainy, manspready. I've been to the gym and I want everybody to know that I've, used tons of shower gel in the shower. And and I say this, anybody who's ever met me knows that the perfumes that I choose to wear for myself, when I'm not thinking about reviewing them, they tend not to be quiet perfumes. I'm not a quiet perfume sort of person. I'm not a wallflower perfume sort of person. Sometimes on certain occasions, but generally speaking, I wear loud stuff. And yet I hope that the loud stuff I wear is interesting and complex and is different when it's smelt from a distance as opposed to when it's smelt close up on me. Whereas this stuff, as Alex said, is just the volume knob turned to 11 and it just bellows constantly. Ralph says, is it bad to be a quiet perfume enjoyer? I quite like a person. Absolutely not at all. Not bad at all. I think, and there are also plenty of pretty awful quiet perfumes out there, and lots of beautiful quiet ones. As I'm speaking to you out of the corner of my eye, I can see my bottle of Diptyque's L'Eau Papier, which is probably one of the best quiet perfumes of recent years. It's because it's really, really fascinating and it has depth. Quiet doesn't have to mean shallow, right? Whereas this is loud and shallow. It's just okay. But on the positive side, it doesn't come across as completely and entirely and depressingly synthetic. It doesn't make you go, oh my word, get this away from me right now. It's actually the kind of scent that if I smelt it on somebody, depending on how well I know them, I might say to them, oh, I notice you like different sorts of perfumes. Tell me what you're into, and then I might as politely as possible and as unobtrusively as possible, point them in the direction of some other things they may be interested in. Because I'd be thinking, okay, well, they're obviously drawn to something that is a little bit off the mainstream track, but maybe they could do with just being nudged a little bit in a more interesting direction. Alex says, it's like marking everything with their own scent like animals do. Maybe that kind of thing. What do they say about it? They say, I don't think a huge amount, actually. Thanks to bright citrus notes contrasted by the richness of spices and the nobility of woody amber accords, this new composition offers a surprising impression of movement as well as balance. And it apparently captures the allure of the modern explorer with a refined elegance. Crafted for those who shape their own destiny, it unveils vibrant citrus notes, a spicy heart of timot pepper, and a mysterious ambery base. Well, I mean, it's not especially peppery either. Pre-sprayed. Blotter is here. Oftenly says, calling woody ambers noble is quite dubious. I know. Gavin, the packaging of the perfumes is very Gemma Collins. Who's Gemma Collins? Is she Joan Collins' even more bling, more shoulder padded older sister or something? Pre-sprayed. Okay. Hello, Akigala Wood, my old friend. If only you were like the sound of silence. Yeah, it's Akigala wood, which is in case you don't know, a Givaudan material, which is I think a kind of derivative of patchouli. But when overused, it's like patchouli going from the scent of peace-loving, gentle, earth-worshipping hippies to something that is just like the most furious, the most irate force in the world. I mean, that is something remarkable about Akigala wood, that when it's overused, it actually makes you picture angry hippies. I mean, livid, foaming at the mouth hippies. Akigala wood, like every single material, has a place in the perfumer's palette, and goodness knows there are perfumes out there where it has been used really well. But for some reason, there is a taste out there for it to be overdosed. And when it's overdosed, it's just livid. Livid is the word, rabid. And I don't much like it. So there we go. That's the Parfums De Marly. Let's move on to the Lancome, because again, this was one where I was contacted by the brand and I thought, well, this is interesting. I haven't heard anything from Lancome for a long time. And I certainly had never heard anything in relation to this range, which is their Absolue perfume range. I think the Absolue also refers to, is it some skincare that they do, that Lancome do? Interesting kind of brand currently, Lancome. I mean, in the 80s, they really did give us some beautiful scents. We had Trésor from them. And do you remember when exclusive perfumes started becoming a little bit of a thing? Lancome actually did their, was it called their collection? And they released their leather from it. And I think they released something called, was it Sikkim? And a lot of those perfumes were really beautiful. And their leather, which, if memory serves, it was either done by Calice Becker or by Daniela Andrea. I may have been done by Calice, which was absolutely beautiful to the point that I had to get a backup bottle of it, and I don't wear it enough. And that collection seemed to die a death, and now their exclusive range seems to be this Absolue collection, and I don't know very much about it. I think there are some ouds in there, and a lot of them are also rose. A lot of them have rose in the name. And I think I was sent this in relation to a Lancome event that took place at Harrods the other day with Dominique Ropion, because he is the perfumer of this perfume. I wasn't able to make the event, very, very sadly. It would have been nice to hear Monsieur Ropion speaking. So I'm about to share this with you. This is called Rose from the Dark, which, as far as punning names go, is not the best one I've ever heard, shall we say. But yes, it's Lancome Absolue Rose from the Dark. So whether it's meant to be a vampiric scent, who knows? Anyway, Here we go. Why is somebody mentioning Comme des Garçons? Try Comme des Garçons Black Pepper. I adore it, says Often. Whoever you're recommending that to, that is an excellent recommendation. I love black pepper as well. Anyway, Rose from the Dark. If this is meant to be the entire range in microcosm, and I must try the entire range one day. The trouble is, usually these sorts of ranges are in very, very, very busy, crowded, noisy department stores that are actually the worst place in which to smell perfumes. And you can't very well just sort of spray loads of blotters and sort of put them in a notebook and say, I'm off now. You might be able to if the place was quiet. But as soon as if you start saying something like, I'm doing it for research, then people are interested in ways that you don't particularly want them to be interested. But if I were to take this as a microcosm of the range, I would say it's made with good materials. I mean, the rose that's coming through here is lovely. It's jammy and nocturnal, not kind of juvenile at all. But it's also really rather dull. And we've smelt this kind of thing before. We've had kind of dark, sticky, jammy roses before. I'm trying to think of what it reminds me of, actually. But I think the trouble is that it probably reminds me of a vague haze of lots and lots of similar things. And also, I was complaining that the Parfums De Marly was too loud. This feels very, very bass. This feels very, very low. I think you would want something... If you were wearing something that's got this, rather gothic colour to it and is called Rose from the Dark, I think you'd want it to project a little bit more. Alex says, I always take the blotter and go outside on the street, which is a brilliant thing to do. But if you want to do it with the entire range, I think if you because there are lots of perfumes in this range, I think if you wanted to do that like 12 times, they might start calling security. I don't know. What do they say about it? I will tell you in a moment. Oh, I thought I had everything. Oh no! I know, because I've got a proper press release, right? I remembered what I'm supposed to do. So here we go. Absolue Le Parfum Rose from the Dark. Lancome introduces Absolue Le Parfum Rose from the Dark, a captivating new fragrance that reimagines the iconic rose within an exquisitely crafted bottle. Well, okay, it's pretty. I mean, it's attractive. It's a pretty standard bottle, though, isn't it? Part of the Absolue Le Parfum collection, this scent embodies the mystery and allure of a rose enveloped in a warm, ambery embrace. Rose from the Dark, crafted by master perfumer Dominique Ropion, features a trio of roses at its heart. Lancome's exclusive Centifolia rose from the Domaine de la Rose in Grasse, Rose Damascene, and a Taif rose accord, the latter inspired by the roses that grow amidst the pomegranates and figs in Saudi Arabia's Taif Mountains. These opulent floral notes intertwine with amber woods, creamy sandalwood, and a powdery musk accord to create a rich, intense, and unforgettable olfactory experience. I think forgettable is precisely what this is, on the strength of the opening. Ropion describes the fragrance as an evanescent dream, harnessing a triptych of roses to reveal full opulent petals sprinkled with the soft aura of musk, says the man who gave us one of the greatest roses of all time, namely Portrait of a Lady. And then it just goes on a bit about the collection as a whole. The collection draws inspiration from Lancome's Domaine de la Rose, a 7-hectare estate cultivating its signature centifolia rose and other precious botanicals. The domain blends historic perfumery traditions with groundbreaking innovation, resulting in 2 new patented rose extracts featured in the Absolue Le Parfum collection, a solvent-free centifolia extract crafted by Firmenich, and the Neo Absolue de Rose by IFF, the first natural centifolia absolute for Lancome. These exclusive extracts capture the unique green luminosity of the centifolia rose, nurtured by the exceptional terroir of the domain. And if they're saying that it's in it, then I'm sure that it absolutely will be in it, because they are not going to lie. But they don't tell you how much is in it. Okay, and then that's always the crunch point. Gavin says Lancome's Domaine de la Rose has 4 hectares. Based on that, they have a huge rose range. I wonder how much oil 4 hectares produces. Well, probably the information on that is going to be out there somewhere. May says, I think the entire collection is about rose, which makes it somewhat redundant and unremarkable. Pre-sprayed Lancome. Here we go. I have a feeling this is not going to be doing much because it's really, really low. It's an attractive but really rather quiet, musky, jammy, deep crimson rose. There is a wealth of superior roses out there. You can start with Nicolai, you can start with Frederic Malle. I mean, actually, I don't know, Les Indemodables, and just loads of brands. Probably most brands' roses are more interesting than this one. Maybe even some of Lancome's own roses are more interesting than this one. More Violette says, I wouldn't mind a quieter dark rose scent. That sounds rather romantic, though it sounds like this fragrance was a failure. I'm suddenly reminded of Sonnet 17. You will have to remind this English teacher which one is Sonnet 17. Okay, let us then go on to one which is quite odd. This is new from 2787, the brand founded by Romy Kovalevsky, who I really, really, really must get on this channel for an interview. This is called Hakuna Matata. I know which tune is going through your head now, right now. So, naming a perfume after a phrase that, I mean, what language is it from? Is it Swahili? I can't remember. You know, it is a genuine phrase in whatever language it happens to be from. Please somebody tell me whether it's Swahili, because I can't remember. And it means, it means, you know, it means no worries for the rest of your days, right? But obviously now, in many, many cultures, it is also associated with a certain animated film. And calling it, you know, calling the perfume Hakuna Matata is interesting. And I thought, oh, Swahili, according to Google, says Omar, thank you very much. I thought it was Swahili. It's like, isn't Simba lion in Swahili? And so like in Swahili, in The Lion King, the lion is called Lion the Lion. Anyway, let us put our Disney reservations to one side for the moment. And then I found out that this was meant to be a banana perfume, because we keep being told, lots and lots of brands keep insisting that banana is the next big thing. And I thought, oh gosh, okay, because I do find what Romy Kovalevsky does for this brand fairly interesting. I think she's got a very, very modern sort of aesthetic. She wants her fragrances to be accessible and wearable, you know, sort of urban directioned, and yet a bit quirky. She doesn't mind doing things a little bit quirky. But when I found out this was banana, I thought, okay. And then I found out it's done by Rodrigo Flores Roux. Amazing Givaudan perfumer, who has done an interview on this channel a while ago. I'd love to have him back as well. And I thought, oh, okay, Rodrigo doing a banana called Hakuna Matata, name Hakuna Matata chosen by 2787. This could be interesting. I thought, okay, this might be fascinating. Let us try it. The last really good banana perfume I smelt is going back a few years, and it was done by Céline Elena for L'Artisan Parfumeur, and it was called Banana. And it was actually kind of interesting, weird, fruity chypre. I don't know if L'Artisan still do it, but it was pretty good. And banana, one of the materials that produces a banana-like note is an acetate called amyl acetate, unless I'm mistaken. And the next time you smell a good quality, good batch, in good condition, Guerlain Mitsuko, preferably extrait, or maybe any kind of old-fashioned, old-school chypre, if you can get a few drops of Coty's chypre, smell it as soon as it goes on the blotter or on your skin, and just think to yourself, banana, because they actually make interesting use of amyl acetate, those perfumes, because there is something a little bit nail varnish removery, paint strippery, green, super clean, diffusive, metallic, glinty, fascinating sort of material. And those are kind of descriptors that you don't associate with banana. You don't associate with banana, you know, the banana, the fruit, until you kind of smell the amyl acetate and go, oh yes, this is doing banana, but it's doing lots of different things as well. Hakuna Matata by Rodrigo Flores Rue. Here we go. In a suitably non-banana-esque bottle. Okay. Banana. It's everything that's great and everything that's awful about banana. Madame Persolaise cannot stand banana. Okay, she can't stand the smell of it. She's absolutely can't stand eating it. She can't have banana bread or cakes that have been made with banana. It really, really, really turns her into an irate hippie. And this starts off with quite a green, leafy, strident, lucid, clear, no messing around. If you want banana, I'm going to give you banana type banana. Is it a candy banana or a natural banana scent, says More Violette? I would say it's kind of both, but veering towards the sort of rubbish sweets type banana. But within about a minute or so, the same way that you did with Banana from L'Artisan Parfumeur, you think, oh, but there's already some kind of darkness coming through. There's already something a little bit more interesting coming through here. Something unexpected. And I suppose that's the wonderful thing about using a top load like Banana. It's so odd that probably most things after it are going to come as a sort of surprise. Keith, this is very, very kind. Thank you very much. Thank you for what you do, says Keith. Thank you very much for that. Not necessary, but very, very kind and very welcome. Gavin says, Vetiver Fauve by Guerlain has pineapple and fig. I've smelled buttery and milk notes, plus Vetiver are truly Bath Town for me. It will be huge, very Aventus adjacent. Ooh. And Gichunk says that they are team Madame Persolaise. Why would anyone want to smell like a banana, says Kim. Yeah, but that's a whole, why would anyone want to smell of a bat stuck in a dank basement somewhere, ask zoologist, or why would anyone want to smell of semen, blood, saliva and sweat, ask Etalib d'Orange. I mean, who knows? Somebody out there will want to smell of something, right? Yeah, so it's got that kind of paint strippery material to it. It's a kind of interesting opening. What does the brand say about it? They say it is playful, tropical, unconventional, which it kind of is. Hakuna Matata's fruity amber composition blossoms around an unexpected pairing of banana and honey. Ooh, okay. Yes, actually, maybe it's this animalic thing that's coming through. Yeah. Which is bizarre. You feel like it would be oversweet, but it kind of just stops just short of being oversweet. Refreshing bergamot and a heart of voracious jasmine sourced from southern China complete this untamed scent, free of constraints, completely present, and redolent with unhurried grace. Interesting description. Unhurried grace. I do find it interesting. I genuinely find it interesting. Let's do the pre-sprayed blotter. Pre-sprayed Hakuna Matata. Empty Sense says, maybe plantain. I can see the sheep. Oh, now you're making me hungry. I love, love, love sliced fried plantain with lots and lots of pepper. Anyway, pre-sprayed. Yeah, see, now that kind of weird, sickly, candy-like banana-iness is gone. But you get something, you get the sort of remnants of honey and a very, very gentle, attractive ambery base. So it isn't as interesting and fascinating at the end as it is in the beginning, but the journey, and it does take you on a journey, which is great as well. The notes that the brand cites are at the top bergamot, green banana peel accord and broom flower, and then apparently it moves on to ripe banana, jasmine and orange flower, and in the base honey and labdanum. Bananas are from hell, says Rita. Gosh, lots and lots of people don't like banana. I will have to tell Madame Persolaise when I finish the broadcast. Gavin says, does wearing it make you want to do your best Josephine Baker dance? No, it does not. Neither does it make me want to burst into the few Disney numbers that I know. Rachel says, I can see the blending with Chinese jasmine, sambac perhaps with the fruity and animalic. Yes, because jasmine, tuberose, ylang ylang, those sorts of flowers have a very, very definite banana facet, do they not? And finally, I would like to move on to a brand that I knew absolutely nothing about until recently. It's called Pigmentarium, and it's from the Czech Republic. And I'm not sure I know of any other perfume brand that's from the Czech Republic. And I was actually given their discovery set. They've got quite a few perfumes to their name. And I looked at the discovery set and I thought, ooh, would Sunday be a good day to go through the discovery set? But they have got a lot of perfumes in the discovery set. So I thought, okay, well, let's save that for another day. But let's do their latest one, which is called Brutal. Can you see that there? And I had an initial sniff and thought it was rather interesting. It's wonderful when you know nothing about a brand, right? You haven't heard of them. You don't know what their style is meant to be about. You know nothing about their founders or founder. And you can just smell with no preconceptions. Some of the imagery on their website, because I have since been on the website, is interesting. I mean, you know, cultural differences are real. They do exist. And what's considered modern contemporary advertising imagery in one culture could well be considered, you know, rather passé in another culture. Oriana says, love this brand. Ah, okay. Please tell me which ones from the discovery set I should try. Teo Belmas is the perfumer of the two latest perfumes, says Lucas, Oratorio and Brutal. Offenlich says, so you're saying we should check this one out. Oh gosh. Yes. Well done. Anyway, Brutal. Brutal isn't actually terribly brutal at all. In fact, it starts off rather lovely. And going back to what I was saying a few seconds ago about certain advertising imagery being, you know, passé in one culture, contemporary in another culture, this, I must admit, makes me think of the kind of candied, sugary, sweet tuberose of Dior's Poison from the mid-80s. And regular viewers will know that I adore Poison. Coffee and tuberose are listed notes, says Gavin. Ah, interesting. And it is like a big 80s retro floral. So maybe that's why they're thinking it's brutal, because big 80s retro florals like Poison are probably seen as being brutal now. It's quite abstract. It's quite a rich bouquet. There's probably carnation in there as well, I would have thought. Clove, lots of spices. It's big. It's perhaps a touch derivative. I mean, you know, we had Poison in the 80s, but it's done very, very convincingly. What can I tell you about it? Brand says, step into an era of amber-hued lights, printed magazines, the aroma of freshly ground coffee, tobacco, white florals, and the rise of pret-a-porter. The fragrance... so does that mean that's the 80s? I don't know. You tell me. The fragrance opens with a dark, sensual accord of Negroni, unfolding into black coffee and orange blossom. At its heart, tuberose, the signature ingredient of Brutal, is enriched by ylang ylang and May Rose, blending seamlessly into a base of tobacco, amber, and sandalwood. And then it just basically says again, orange blossom, Negroni, black coffee, tuberose, ylang ylang rose de May, and tobacco bourbon, Delaire. Does that mean there's a sort of Delaire base? Amber and sandalwood. I miss original Poison, says Kim. Shoulder pads in a bottle. I treasure every single drop that I have of vintage Poison, especially the Esprit de Parfum. That is beautiful. I mean, the Extrait as well, but the Esprit de Parfum is really, really beautiful. Pre-sprayed blotter, and then we will be done with this episode. Pre-sprayed blotter for Brutal. Lucas says, Brutal, I guess, has its connection. It has connections with the architectural style of brutalism. A lot of buildings were brutalist in Prague and in the Czech Republic. Interesting. Okay, so definitely quieter and a bit more faded, well, considerably more faded than Poison would have been had it been sprayed a mere sort of 4 hours ago. But attractive. Quality materials, I would say, mostly still doing that kind of tuberose rose thing. If you're after a retro floral, it's well worth trying. But on the strength of this, I'm really, really fascinated to try the Discovery set. Perhaps that'll be something to look forward to on my, resumption, the post-summer resumption of the videos. Okay, right, we are done. If you have enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. And as I said, if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do consider doing so. Thank you very much for watching. We will take a 2-minute break and we will be back with a showcase of some works from Parfums de Marly. See you very soon. Bye now.